Okay, so this is one of my favorite modules in the entire journey. It's about sustainable purpose, okay? And one of the things that I need you to keep in mind here is what sustainability is and what that means relative to you. So, our game plan for this module is simple. It's going to be to help you explore how you can make your life purpose sustainable from both an inner and outer perspective, guide you through key questions that are so simple yet so overlooked, and help you remember your why and how you're going to do this long term without interruption. So, what is sustainability? So, sustainability is simply being able to maintain something at a certain level. That's it. Okay, so when it comes to sustaining your purpose, this is very important. Can you output a certain level of value? Can you output a certain level of content over a period of time that is balanced for you and your life so that you can continue living your purpose? That's sustainability. So, in this case, sustaining your life purpose is being able to give your gifts to your audience for as long as you choose without experiencing hardship or resistance at any level. I'm talking about financial, with relationships, your physical health, your emotional, and your spiritual body, okay? It's so important to maintain sustainability. I've made so many mistakes in the past, doing my own previous businesses, freelance work, and etc. And I wish someone told me about this stuff 10 years ago. Okay, so I'm giving you this as like the huge shortcut. Okay, sustainability is about keeping balance with everything. This is not just about your purpose, this is about you as well, yourself. So, what does sustainability mean on all levels? Real simple, it means keeping the balance with yourself and your life as a whole, just like I talked about. And it's understanding and remembering everything is connected as one. When Ham and I, when we were in Peru, and we took ayahuasca, one of the songs that they were singing, which was so beautiful, was something with the chorus, "Everything affects everything," and try to see it that way. Try to see it as every aspect of your purpose is going to affect everything else. Some people take their work home with them. How does that affect them in their home life? Think about that. So that's what we're talking about here. But ultimately, sustaining your life purpose comes down to one thing, which is balance.
Yes, and also a very beautiful way to describe sustaining your life purpose is imagine you plant a seed in the ground, and that seed is your purpose, okay? And you have it grow and you have it become a beautiful, massive tree that is really carrying a lot of fruit. And you want that tree to last a lifelong, a
Time,
life, a life,
a
a
lifetime.
lifetime long, yeah, or however long you choose to. So that's one way how you can see sustaining your life purpose.
Mm,
Have it grow and have it really become that massive tree that you want it to become, and nurture it, but make sure that you keep the balance.
mm. I love that. Yeah, think about it like this: a tree can only grow as deep as its roots are embedded into the ground. So if you're trying to build this really big, awesome thing, you have to make sure that it's grounded, right? I never understood what that term meant, grounded. What does that mean?
Exactly. And when it comes to being grounded, balance is so important because when you are out of balance, you're literally losing your ground.
Mm,
Okay, so you have to make sure that you are spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically balanced on all levels.
absolutely.
So you can serve your purpose, but to also serve yourself.
I love that. That's one of yeah. So remember,
So
keep the roots going in very very deep so that you can allow the tree to grow. What are you gonna say?
exactly, and also with imagine the tree is you, and you have the roots deeply embedded in the ground so Mother Earth can feed you,
Mm,
but you also carry fruits, and the fruits you give these fruits to other people, and the fruits is your purpose, is your service.
I love that.
So you need to make sure that you're nurtured at all times in order to give your best.
That's very well said. And what most people, moving on to this now, what most people seem to forget is that everything in our universe must follow this rule of balance. Too much of one thing and not enough of another creates the imbalance, right? If there's too much, for example, for climate change, the issue that's going on right now, if there is too much greenhouse gas emissions happening, that traps in the heat for the planet. And what does that do to our forests? What does that do to our, agriculture? What does that do to us? What does that do to the planet? Right. So that's the imbalance that we're talking about. So everything needs to be balanced. Okay. And that's why we need to see sustainability just like nature. Okay. Everything has its opposites. Where there's male, there's female. Where there's hot, there's cold. Where there's night, there's day. When you plant the seed, you cannot expect to the next day have the fruit there. It's going to take time. It's going to take love, water, all the elements put together to make it all come together. Okay? When,
Yes, and on the same time, it does take time, of course, but see it like the seasons. So you have the winter, you have the spring, you have the summer, you have fall. Okay? So the season in where you plant the seed is not the season in where you will reap the harvest. So bear that in mind. There's a season for everything. Just because you don't see any results straight away is simply because you're not in the right season yet.
mm, and just remember, this entire universe is an extension of us, okay? And it operates. Um, we're an extension of the universe, right? So it operates in coherence, meaning harmony. So it's necessary to literally be one with the universe, with this universe, to understand, all these elements that we're talking about, and how you can apply that to yourself. So there's two key factors you need to attune to in order to reach sustainability with your purpose, okay? Most important is your inner world, okay? This is something that they will not talk about. I've taken all the business classes. I graduated from university, having studied business, accounting, all these principles, and they will never talk about this. If your inner world is not attuned, okay, this is very important. If your inner world is not lined up, your outer world, it's not gonna matter, okay? I did it the opposite for like at least 10 years in my 20s, okay? My entire 20s, I was, let me see how hard I can work because that's what I was told. And that is a lie, okay? Your inner world, being your beliefs, your emotions and patterns, which are your habits, accounts for 80% of being able to sustain your life purpose. Think about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, okay? This is really important, okay? The second, which is the 20%, is your outer world. So your outer world being your actions to sustain your life purpose. That accounts for 20% of being able to sustain yourself, to sustain your life purpose. Now, think about it like this. Whenever they have sales training or they hire someone to do sales, what's the one thing that they really work on the most? It's the inner psychology. It's the psychology of it, okay? We've taken tons of programs over the last years. I myself invested like thousands of dollars on business coaching. We're going to go to Tony Robbins Business Mastery upcoming, and we're going to have a lot more information and goodies to share with you guys, more value to give to you in this experience. But one of the things that they always emphasize, especially now, is the psychology, especially for people trying to get new clients or whatever, or even doing something that they're not accustomed to. It's the wiring, guys. This is the most important thing that we have to consider. Okay, so the 20% is just the action, but it's the inner game. It's the inner work, the inner feeling that you have about yourself that's going to matter the most.
Yes, and it also comes down to remembering the universal law as within, so without. So everything that is going on inside of you will be reflected in your outer world. So you have to
Mm,
start within.
mm,
You have to start to get into alignment within yourself first to then be able to carry that out into the outer world.
well said. So, like I said, the 80-20 rule, okay? It's also known as the Pareto principle. Basically, we're helping you remember that sustaining your life purpose is 80% from inner alignment and clarity, okay? This is why, for the previous weeks, what we are talking about, Clarity, clarity, clarity. We're asking you all these questions. We're telling you to meditate because you need to have clarity. You need to have inner alignment. You need to literally spend time with yourself and meditate and feel into your heart energy, the heart's electromagnetic field. You need to take that time to answer these questions because that's the inner alignment. That's the 80% of it right there. Think about it like this: there's a YouTuber, a very well known guy in the online community at this moment. His name is Jay Shetty, and this guy he spent time as a monk just meditating. Okay, and after he did that, the exponential growth that he had from that moment to becoming the guy that makes wisdom grow viral. I think that's his like catchline. Is that right, Emma?
Yes.
It was just like exponential. It was like skyrocket. How did he get there? It,
Because he had built the fundamentals
mm-hmm.
inside of him. He had built the massive roots that will carry him throughout his journey
Yep.
because they got so strong and so powerful.
Yep. And the biggest thing to keep in mind is that even if you look at this as like building a house,
Exactly.
Hema's dad, this guy's a genius. He built his own house. He had no knowledge. He just read books for like 2 years or something, and then he did the foundation. Think about that. Think about that for a second, okay? That was the 80% right there. He was the foundation. He had to get the knowledge, okay? He had to do the inner alignment. He had to get the clarity. How did he want the house to look? How did he want the panels, the bathroom, the tiles, the everything, the boards, all the stuff, the land. He had to get that clarity and alignment first so that he can build that house for his family, okay? The 20% after that was the action. And that was like the next phase of it. But it was the inner alignment and the clarity to it, knowing how he was going to build it first. That was the key.
And that is truly the work that you have to put in. Most of the work when it comes to your life purpose is the inner game work. Because once you have mastered the inner game, the rest, the 20%, as we say, is just executing and it will come naturally and it will be flowing.
Yes, yes. Like for us, for example, perfect example. We spent a good maybe I think 8 9 months maybe traveling to chakra points, to
It
Uluru.
was a massive inner work journey.
Yeah, yep,
But because we've done that, we have healed on so many levels and we really like strengthened our roots inside of us so strongly. That's why we are now flowing. That's why we are at the point where things are just naturally coming together.
yep, absolutely. So, like we said, it's the 80% of that. Okay, that's the work that we had to do, the months that we had to spend getting that inner alignment, getting that inner clarity. So, 80% of sustaining your purpose comes from within you. Okay, 20% of sustaining your purpose comes from following through in the outer world. Okay, don't build on sand and ash. Don't build anything outside of you without first doing the inner game stuff. Okay, so inner sustainability, which is your 80%. It's sustaining your mental, emotional, and spiritual state so that you can serve with the best intentions, okay? And that's vital because your audience will always pick up on your energy and your true intentions, okay? They're gonna always pick up on that. They're gonna know if you're just out there to make a dollar versus actually showing up and being the real deal, okay? So our consciousness is constantly, okay, interacting with one another in this matrix, what we call life. It's up to us to influence this matrix with our consciousness to affect and alter perception, or what we call reality. All right, this is really key here. When you really get this, you're going to unlock it. We can achieve this influence by sustaining our states, which we're going to talk about more in the upcoming slides and modules. Okay, we heard this a lot from like Tony Robbins. This is the guy that we studied and followed a lot. Les Brown, Eric Thomas, uh, who so many other people, Lewis Howes, or all these people, right? So this is what we're talking about: sustaining the state. Okay. Now the outer sustainability part is your actions. Has to be aligned actions. Okay. So many people, with all due respect to like the Gary Vaynerchuks and the Grant Cardones, those are great guys in their own ways. But to say that it's hard work is just not true. It has to be aligned. It has to feel right to you. Okay. Not everyone wants the same thing. Okay. Not everyone's idea of wealth and richness is the same. Okay? So your aligned actions, habits, and resources account for the other 20% of sustaining your purpose. The ability to serve others for as long as you choose without hardship requires you to have the resources necessary to complete your mission here on earth. We're not necessarily so focused on money and having material things, but we want to make sure that while we're doing this, while we're completing our mission here on earth, we have our needs met. We're not in a place of scarcity. We're in a place of abundance. Okay, and what does that mean to us? That's going to be different. Our definition may be different from yours. So the focus really is to be able to truly thrive with your purpose, your zone of genius, okay, on all levels, while also being able to financially support yourself and your loved ones.
And this also comes back down again to a universal law, which is whatever you give is what you receive back. So you need to you need to understand, and you really need to put your faith in that whatever, when you come from a place of true service to the world and to your audience, you're going to receive whatever you need to sustain yourself and your purpose. You're going to receive that back. You will be supported. It's a law, as so within, so without.
So sustainability. Whether you're planning to turn your purpose into a business or not, it's important to see your gifts and who you give your gifts to as your system for serving your purpose. Okay? So, we have a series of questions that need to be answered to help you navigate the next steps of your path. Then, what we're going to do is we're going to be working on your inner world by aligning you to your truth. And last, we're going to get you the clarity on the systems you're going to need to get you to where you want to be. So there's 6 key questions that I found to be extremely helpful. It can be very applicable into pretty much any category, but it has to be applied to your purpose. Okay, so these 6 questions are basically like the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay, so when we're asking for what do I and sell? Sell meaning value. What's your service? What's your gift? What's the thing that you give to the world? Okay, so like I said, this is your purpose, the value you give to your audience. Who? Who do I sell my purpose to? Okay, who would you give your purpose to? Would it be animals? Would it be a cause? Would it be an organization? Would it be people? Would it be moms,
Plants,
dads, plants,
environment.
environment? Okay, that's what we're talking about. Who? The who is that? The audience. Okay, where? Where do I sell my purpose? Okay, so think about your intentions for what you're trying to do, or what you're not trying to do, but what you're intending to do. Think about the scalability and the level of impact you intend to have. Do you want to do this globally? Do you do this thing locally? Things to think about. Next, when? When do I sell my purpose? Is this something you're always needing to do? Is it a part-time thing? Is it full-time? Can you not be present and still live your purpose? Can your purpose live on without you? Okay, these are again big questions that we're asking you for a reason. Now, why? Why do I sell my purpose? This is going to be your 80%, your why here, okay? How is going to be your 20%. It's going to be your action. It's going to be your follow through, okay? How do I sell my purpose, okay? So one of the things that I've learned along my journey, and this is stuff that I haven't found anywhere, but I came up with it on my own. I have like my own formula for sustainability, okay? And when I started really thinking about this, it became more and more true and more evident, okay? And for me, the formula is as follows, and it's real simple. The why and the how is going to make you manifest your purpose. Is going to equal out to your purpose, okay? So why does this matter? How do I do this? And that's your purpose. That's you living your purpose, okay? So the inner game is the why. The outer game, the outer world stuff, is the how. It's the execution. It's the follow through, okay? And those two combined will give you your manifestation of your purpose, the realization of your dream, your desire, your vision. So on to the what. What do I sell? Okay. So think about this as your purpose, the value you give to your audience. Okay. What is the value you give to your audience? This is something that we've talked about, and I just want to make sure that we're very clear on this, okay? The more clarity you have, the better, okay? So always keep rewriting the same answers if you have to, but just make sure that you're very clear. If you have, like, for example, if in other modules we had you do something similar, mission statement and all that stuff, and yet you're finding that the what do you sell is much different from that, then that's when you know you need to go back to that original content and figure out, okay, where is their confusion, okay? Because we want to make sure that you're dialed into this, okay? So do this. Set a timer for 5 minutes to answer this question. What do I sell? What's the value I give to my audience? Pause the module and continue when you're done. Next, when it comes to the who do I sell my purpose to? One thing to note is when we say sell, it's both a literal and a figurative thing, okay? It refers to who you would sell your gifts to, who you would give your gifts to, and what is the value you're giving to others with your purpose, okay? This is extremely important. When especially for me myself, I'm not necessarily the most social guy. I don't know if I would consider myself an introvert. I can turn on the switch of socializing when I need to, but it's not really my thing. And also, the word "sell" sounds in alignment, unaligned to me, as well as business these days. But when I say sell, I mean like, what's the exchange that you're gonna do? What's the exchange? Is there an exchange? How would you give something, and who would you give that to? Who would you sell that thing to? Okay, so think about that audience for a minute. Think about whether it be the environment, whether it be marine life, whether it be people, moms, dads, fellow heart-centered business owners, whoever that is. Who is the who? All animals, whatever. Who do I give my value to? Okay, write this out, and again, make sure you're very clear on this stuff. Okay, the more clarity you have on all these things, on all these questions, the better. So do this, set the timer for 5 minutes, answer that question. Who do I give my value to? Pause the module and continue when you're done. Next question is the where. Where do I sell my purpose? Okay, so this is the where do I give my value? Now, I want you to think about this a little bit more clearly. This is you and your level of reach for your purpose, okay? Think about the scalability, okay, and the level of impact you're intending to have here, okay? Is selling your purpose something that you're going to do all over the world like us, or is it going to be something that you're doing locally within, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks of your community, or within a mile radius or diameter of your community or something? Think about also the level of service, and think about what it's going to take, okay? But for right now, just keep it very simple, okay? Where would you sell your purpose, okay? Where would you give your value? Would you do this all over the world, or would you do this in your community, okay? So if you build small right now and you intend to scale later, it becomes much harder to switch and develop and develop the right frame and patterns to align to it. So that's one thing that I also want you to keep in mind. But again, whatever feels right to you. If you need to meditate on this, if you need to go within and ask yourself, what are what's the reach that you're gonna have or you're intending to have, do that, okay? But set a timer for 5 minutes, answer that question. Okay.
And also, when we say where do you sell it, we also mean, are you intending to do it online, or are you doing it offline, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So again, that's another. We'll add that into as an update for version 2. But would you sell this thing online, or where would you do it? Online, offline, globally, locally? That's going to be up to you, okay? But answer the question, set the timer for 5 minutes, and pause the module and continue when you're done. So when do you sell your purpose, okay? When I say when do you sell your purpose, is this something that you're always going to be needing to do? Is it a part-time thing? Is it full-time? Can you not be present and still live your purpose? Can your purpose live on without you, okay? This is going to take you maybe a little bit more time, but try to set a timer that's appropriate for you, okay? Whether it be you need 5 minutes or 10 minutes for this thing, answer this, okay, in as much detail as you can, okay? Because the thing is, most people, they're gonna think, they're not gonna really think about these things. Is this something that you're only intending to do part time? Is this something that you're only intending to do full time? Some people's purpose could be to have like a blog, and that's it. and they just want to set it and forget it, and they just want to give the information, and that's it, and that's fine. And they don't want to necessarily be present. They don't necessarily want to be there. Some people, they want to be involved. Some people, they want to do meditation circles. They want to be around people. They want to speak. They want to do all these things. So these are the things that you have to think about. Can your purpose also live on value? Let's say if you start up your own heart-centered service, or your purpose service, as I like to call it, and you're no longer here. Can can your mission, can your vision still live on without you? So set a timer for 5 minutes, answer this question, pause the module, and continue when you're done. So now, the two most important questions of all time. Your why. Okay, this is your first one. This is your most important one right here. Why do I sell my purpose? Why would you do all this? Why do you give your value? Why does that matter? What are all the reasons this needs to happen? Think of this question like roots for a tree, okay? The more and deeper the roots, the more grounded the tree being you, the tree being your purpose, okay? So I want you to really take some time with this one. Maybe you need 5 minutes, maybe you need 10, maybe you need 15. Whatever the amount of time is that you need, take it, okay? This is your time, this is you.
And go really deep with this question.
Yes, this is something that we had to go very, oh my God, so deep with.
Think about not just yourself, not just your audience, like expand it to the whole world, if you will, expand it to the whole universe, expand it to the future of the planet, the future of humanity, the future of your audience. Go really deep and very wide with this.
Yes, yes. I mean, for us, the whys just get stronger and stronger every
The
day.
bigger the why, the easier and the more flowing it will be in the outer world for you.
What was that question? What was that thing that goes, the stronger the why, the easier the how, or something like that?
Yes.
Something like that. But the why is the major thing, guys. Okay, so set a timer.
It's the foundation again.
It's the foundation again. So set a timer for 5, 10, 15 minutes, however much time that you need. Answer this question. Make sure that why is super strong, because let's say if your purpose is climate change, right? Solving the climate change crisis, for example. You got to make sure that's a strong why. If someone wants to colonize Mars, we had some people, where we were interviewing for the program, for the experience, and they were talking about wanting to colonize Mars. Why? Why does that matter? What's the thing behind it?
Yeah.
Same thing with marine life. Same thing with healing work. Same thing with helping people become financially free. Same thing with people helping people build sustainable homes for free Earth Pod Living or Project Arcadia. Like, why is that? Why does that matter? So answer those questions as best as you can. Think of all the reasons, pause the module, and continue when you're done. Next up, we have the how. Okay, so now the how. How do I solve my purpose? This is the 20%. This is actually so much easier once you get the why in, okay? The how is the how do I give my value, okay? This is the time for everything that we just talked about so far. What's your map for this? Are you going to do this full time? Are you going to do this part time? How many resources are you going to need for this? Or how much are you going to need for this, okay? Think about it like this. For us, for Vibrational Life, our focus, our why, is to help people find their life purpose so that they can achieve absolute clarity on their life purpose so that they can fulfill their mission here on earth. And there's so much tie into this. There's so much with detail with the reasons why. Artificial intelligence coming out, the future of this planet, 5G, EMF radiation. We need people that are in their zone of genius to solve those problems that are going on in the world right now, and we need to give them the tools that we can give them, the best of our knowledge, so that they can do that, so that they can make this world a better place for all of us, right? Now the how is, how are we going to execute this? So for us, when we were crafting Vibrational Life, when we were in the process of really giving birth to it, we knew that we needed to do this online. We knew that we needed to do this in mass groups. We couldn't be working with people one-to-one. We had to create something where we can make sure that people can watch content like this, learn every single chance they can, give them as much value as they can, give a support a team, okay, having empower mentors, having coaches, having healing practitioners, having us, metaphysics, meditation, EFT, business, all these things wrapped up into one. So we knew that we had to create something that could easily be scalable. So whether it be one person or 100,000 people, we knew that we had to have a system in place, and the system after that became so much easier. But it was the why first, and then the how is the follow through that matters the most.
And how I see it as well, it's not only about how do I sell my purpose, but also how do I really execute and take action on my purpose,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct. How am I going to do this? So we knew that, okay, in order for us to have this group experience and give the highest level of quality that we could, we knew that we needed these back end trainings for you guys. We knew that we needed our own Facebook communities, our own Facebook groups. We knew that we needed to have a free community, which is unleashing your life purpose, for all the people that are stuck on their journey and can't necessarily don't have the time or the resources to do this program.
Yeah, and we also knew that in order to reach the masses, we need to do it online.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely, and that was the best way for us. Everyone has these days, especially has a cell phone, has either a cell phone or a laptop, so
And
they have
internet connection.
internet
And that's
connection.
the easiest way for us to connect people all over the globe to
Absolutely.
what we have to offer to them. So think about that.
Absolutely. Yep. So the how we'll also talk about this a little bit more in upcoming modules, how we did it, and we'll show you our structure a little bit more so you can get an idea if you want to kind of copy the same thing. But set that timer for a couple of minutes, whether it be 5, 10, or 15 on this one. This may take some time, but think about that. What's your map for this? Are you going to do this full time, part time? What are the resources you're going to need? What's the action steps that you're going to need to take for this? And pause the module and continue when you're done. So now the next step of this is how to take your purpose and sustain it, okay? So when it comes to sustaining your purpose, the path to sustaining your purpose is based on mastering your inner state, your inner world first, okay? The more centered, clear, certain, loving, and confident you feel on the inside, the more you'll vibrate that energy out into the world, okay? Now, as I mentioned before, the 80-20 rule, sustaining your purpose in 80%, okay? The majority of sustainability comes from within, the inner game work, the inner psychology, okay? If, let's say, for example, you receive $1 million USD every single year for serving your purpose. Is that sustainable? Well, it depends. It depends on you, because if you're wired to spend money as soon as it comes in and not properly allocate for that, then it is that sustainable if you're always in debt. On the other side, if you're only receiving $100,000 USD per year, is that sustainable? Well, that's going to depend on you and your interstate, because some people can live off of extremely less. We can live off extremely less, and we still have such a great time doing what we do and traveling around and helping people. So it's really truly relative. You know, do you need certain things? Do you not? And that's going to come from you. That's going to come from your inner psychology. And that's why industry experts like Tony Robbins emphasize constantly mastering your state, master your state, okay? Because it's the core beliefs, ideas, and thoughts you have that make up you and your outcome. Just like we talked about in week 1. All the ideas that you have, you need to rewire your beliefs, okay? Whether that be, knowing what it is that you need to change, tapping on it, but you need to know what your core beliefs are around these concepts, around these topics, okay? So your inner game states you might need to master them, okay, to sustain your life purpose, and that could include patience, consistency, certainty, love, abundance, okay? So what are the inner states that you may need to master in order for you to complete this? Something to think about. So now on the flip side, the 20%, the outer world stuff, sustaining your purpose. These are your systems for sustainability in the outer world. So for example, let's say you have a freelance practice, right? Let's say it's either healing work, or you're building technology for people, or whatever, and you work with people one to one. Let's say, for example, you do 30 to one sessions per week and you charge 100 USD per hour at minimum. And you're doing that day, a week in and week out. How sustainable is that for you? Okay, think about it like this. If each session you do is 1 hour, that's already 30 hours already spent on your purpose, working on your purpose, okay? Now think about how much time you're going to have left to keep your balance, connecting with your audience, spending time with family, friends, having fun, loving, and taking care of yourself, right? Where where does the rest of your time come in for this? Remember, we only have 24 hours a day. We only have 7 days a week. We only have 365 days a year, each of us, right? Whether time be an illusion or not, we have a certain amount of lifespan in this physical body, in this time space reality. So, with that said, how sustainable are all these things for you? And this is why we need to focus on systems and how we can make our purpose as sustainable as possible. So, sustaining within, which is our 80%, okay? Having patience. I'm talking about like next level patience, confidence, or certainty in yourself and your purpose might be what you need to sustain your inner state. For me, one of my greatest challenges was those three: patience, confidence, certainty. Okay, our egos, they can get crushed when we're kids because we get conditioned and labeled. We get called, this person's the smart one. This person is this one, and that affects us on a deep soul level. So maybe there's something that happened along your journey, which is or could be affecting your state, your inner state, and your sustainability within yourself. So think about it like this: it's this conditioning that makes us think either too small and makes us forget how truly powerful we are, and if that happens, we can lose our true states and sense of self, and have to remember how to be that once again to sustain our purpose. So it's like we lose the part of ourself that is patience. We lose the part of ourself that is confident. We lose the part of ourself that is certain. Okay, and part of our journey is to remember how to sustain that within, how to keep those states at all times, no matter what's going on. So, you can experience things like lower vibrational energies, like burnout, fatigue, drain, or uncertainty, and those things can happen if you're not keeping balance within yourself. So you must be able to manage those inner states first. Then the sustainability in the outer world will flow. When it comes to the system of it, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do to manage or to grow in self-love, in certainty, in patience, in confidence?
Yeah, and also bear in mind that your purpose is an extension of yourself. So if you're doing good, your purpose will be doing good. But you have to create the state within yourself first in order for it to be reflected in the outer world while unleashing and living your purpose.
So here's what we want you to do. You need to set a timer for 5 minutes and you need to answer this. What are the states within yourself that you need to align to in order to sustain your purpose? Okay, so whether it be you need more patience, discipline, a certain feeling, a state, or a frame, okay, spending more time with yourself, what do you need to do to align to within you to sustain your life purpose? Okay, so set that timer for 5 minutes, answer those questions. Now, sustaining your outside, which is the 20%. Okay, when it comes to sustaining your outer world stuff, okay, um, think about it like this. Think about it as like three different aspects. It's going to be your actions, okay, your habits, and your resourcefulness for resources. Okay, so in proper order, it's your habits or your patterns, your actions, your resourcefulness for resources. Okay, so sustaining your habits, as we talked about before in previous modules in the beginning, habit, pattern, those are the things, those are the programs that we run on. It's like the app for the phone. The software constantly updates itself. But we, for whatever reason, don't. And that's what we need to change. So, in order to sustain your life purpose, balance and habit must unite. So, sustainable habits are habits that are going to help you get the most out of your time, resources, and energy. Habits are the things you do every day that you are either aware of or not. Habits shape your timeline and have a compounding effect. Okay, so as an example, saving a certain amount of money for a period of time is going to get you a certain result. Okay, there's a really good book that I read a couple years ago. I forget who the author is, but it's called The Compound Effect. And in this book, this guy is talking about how over time, if you do something over time, it's going to have a result. And they did some studies on this where they took like three guys and they did certain things for them for their diet, for their health. One of them did nothing. The other one ate more food. The other one exercised. And then surprise, surprise, after 18 months, here's what happened. The guy that did nothing stood the same. The guy that ate more got fat, depressed, and actually got a divorce, and actually got fired from his job too. The guy that worked out, ate less, took care of himself, etc., he actually got in better shape, felt happier, got a promotion at, at his work. So that just goes to show you the compounding effect. At first, it doesn't seem so obvious, but then after a while, it starts to compound. And just like for us, too, like how we said we worked on that inner game stuff first, meditating, going to the chakra points, traveling, we started really noticing a huge, huge compound effect within us and within people and how they interacted with us after some time. So it became very obvious. So what I'm saying is, over time, our daily habits will give us that result that we're looking for. Okay, but it comes from the habits first. So one of the things that I want to really impart on you today is to develop high impact habits. Okay, now when it comes to high impact habits, here's what you need to know. It's important to have high impact habits to keep you centered and anchored so you can continue living your life purpose. Habits, you can have any habit. Smoking can be a habit. Going out on the weekends can be a habit. But is that high impact? Is that going to serve your purpose? No.
They either break you or they make you your habits.
And that's so important because when it comes to your sincerity for your purpose, if you're truly intending to do this, the habits matter. Habits matter. For us today, we have such a great routine of how we do things. We wake up, meditate, we say what we're grateful for, our intention. We speak out our mission statement. We have that energetic vibration out into the world that we send out for our purpose. Then we work intensely without food, fasting, just being really focused and dialed in. And then by the time that it's the afternoon, what do?
We keep our balance.
We keep our balance.
We nurture ourselves. We just take time to be present, to be there for ourselves and to nurture ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And these habits that we have created, they became so powerful and very life-changing. The habit to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning before the sun rises every single day, to meditate as soon as we wake up, to fast 16 hours a day, to put in all the work in the early hours of the day where we are most present, most aware, and they really make a huge difference.
They do. They really do. And then after that, when we get all that work done, I'm talking about we spend at least like 6-7 hours focused, 7 days a week, 7 days a week. And then after, by the time it hits like 2 or 3 o'clock,
we're done.
We're done. We have the best food. We relax. We take it easy. We laugh. We play. We go for walks. We're about to go. Today we're in the UK. We're about to go to Buckingham Palace and then just check out London. So it's a really it's again the habit. The habit is the thing. Okay, the habit is the thing, and I'm telling you this from my own experiences, guys. I've been there, and I know what they can be like. It can be very frustrating if you don't have the discipline, the routine in place, okay? And that's the whole point of having the physical body. The physical body is the do, is the action. You've been blessed with the hands. You've been blessed with the feet, the action, the ability to do stuff. You've been blessed with the ability to even be in this experience and to grow and to become more so that you can align to your purpose. So remember, high impact habits are habits that propel you to the vision and the outcome you seek for yourself. Habits beat goals every single time. I would never at this stage of my life ever again have goals. Those things are not, it's not the solution. And here's why. Most people think about having big goals, right? So what do? They do things that they're not wired for. They do things that they're not aligned to, okay, without having the proper wiring first. And because of this, the systems aren't in place. They're not in place, and they self-sabotage, and that's gonna happen. That's happened to me multiple times. I remember when I was, having my fitness coaching program or fitness coaching business a few years back, and I remember every single time make $100,000 a year. Okay, I one year I got close. I got close. I was maybe about what 20, 15K away. But then after that, it's like I just hit this massive drop down. Why? It was because I didn't have the wiring. I didn't have the habits. This is something that they never showed me. They never told me. I didn't learn this in school. I had to learn this myself through experience, okay? Through my own experience. The big goals, making the $1 million, it's not gonna happen unless there's the system, the wiring is in place, the mindset is in place, the belief that you can even make the $1 million has to be there. The belief that you can make the $1 billion has to be there, and that has to be a trained habit, a pattern within you. Does that make sense? So, the best way that I found, honestly, to prevent that from happening, the self sabotage, is to not have goals. Instead, have habits, okay? Because habits are systems. When you perform them over a period of time, you're going to notice a compounding result effect, okay? And that's where the sustainability comes in, okay? Think about it like this. Going back to the compounding effect book that I was talking about, those guys, over 18 months is when we started seeing the results, the real true, like, wow, this is a night and day. Even Kobe Bryant, who was a retired National Basketball Association player, NBA player, he he talked about when he was going into the league, he knew what success was like, and he knew he wanted to work with the right coaches. I think his name was Phil Knight or something. I'm not sure what the coach's name was, but he knew that he needed to do certain things in order to become, a Hall of Famer basketball player. So what did he do? Instead, the average NBA players were training maybe 2 or 3 times a day. This guy was doing double the work. Why? Because he knew that even though it was tough at the beginning, within maybe 6 months, he'll get used to it. So he kept doing that and doing that and doing that over and over and over and over again. And by the time like year 1.5 passed, again the 18-month mark, the difference in his ability between the average NBA player and himself was overwhelming. They couldn't catch up. It was like he had 5 to 10 extra years of practice and training, of habit, okay, than anyone else. He wasn't looking at it as like, okay, I'm gonna win the championship this year, and that was the goal. No, he was saying I'm gonna train 4 times a day if I have to, because that's gonna be my habit, that's gonna be my system to getting the championship. Does that make sense? So for you, let's say for example, your goal is to solve climate change. Okay, what's the habit? What's the system in order for you to do that? Okay, your system, your habit could be, I need to go to the United Nations. I need to speak to people in each country all over the world. So you map out, okay, I need to go to this country, I need to go to this organization, and I need to speak about climate change in this. Or it could be if you're doing a healing practice, and let's say you want to heal 1,000 people in a year. Okay, well, what's the habit? Okay, well, just do reverse engineering. If I need to serve 1,000 people and I need to heal 1,000 people a year, then what do I need to do for that? How many people do I need to heal per month? How many people do I need to heal per week? How many people do I need to heal per day? Real simple. So, must habits that you need to acquire for this. You need to have discipline, patience within yourself, okay? You need to be patient with yourself. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Be confident about what you're doing because people feel that. People will resonate with that. And if you make love to what you do constantly and you have a positive mental attitude, people are going to pick up on that. It's an energetic thing. People just feel it. Even body language, people can read that stuff so well, especially if you're very intuitive and sensitive and empathic. People can pick up on that, no brainer. So think of your goals in this sense as like your final destination, okay? I don't care about the goal. I don't care about the final destination. The habit, the habit is the process of getting there. Okay? You're going to get there no matter what. If you say I'm going to go from point A to point B, if I'm going to go from New York City to California or from Austria to London, that's the final destination. The habit, however, is the vehicle that you're going to use to get yourself to that final destination. Okay? That's the important thing, all right? Hamma and I, we have a dream, starting our own robotics company, okay? And these robots are sentient, okay? And they actually help people. They actually help the world so that when we die, we know that these robots will do their part constantly, okay? That's the final destination for us, okay? We want to make sure that we leave this earth knowing that we did everything that we could, the best that we could. But it's our habits right now that are dictating what our final destination is. If we started drinking alcohol again, which I'll never do personally, if we started sleeping late, slacking off, not being aligned to our truth, not loving ourselves, not raising our vibration, think about how that's going to affect the vehicle.
It is like a broken vehicle. And how are the chances to get to your destination with a broken vehicle?
It's not going to be good.
Yeah, but your vehicle has to be like supercharged and super fast and like high standard, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your habits need to become high standard and supercharged and high vibrational to get to your destination as soon as possible and as fast as possible, as easy, as smooth as possible.
Absolutely. It just reminds me of a story when we went to Australia for the first time and we were in Uluru. We rented this like all white camper van with these really not equipped desert tires. Okay, these are just like regular street tires, and we had no idea that going onto the Great Central Road meant we were gonna be on a road where it wasn't paved. There was just dirt, rocks, everything, right? And it was a long road, and we made it. We made it fine the first time, and then when we came back, we caught a flat tire. We were stuck overnight, and we trusted someone to take our tire for us and fix it. No one came until the next day, so we were out there, but the reason why I say that is because it just reminds me of that. It reminds me that we could have we could have gotten there had we had the we still made it back regardless, but we could have gotten there much smoother and much safer when I look back on it if we had the proper equipment. I remember there was an old couple that came up to us and they had these massive tires. They had like an RV. They had all these walkie talkies, all these gadgets, and they were like, "Yeah, we our thing cost like $200,000." And I was like, "Oh, we just rented this camper van for 7 days for like $400." So it just goes to show you, again, the vehicle that you use can help you get to your destination. Okay, and it's gonna depend on you. So one thing that I also want to impart on you is success is not the completion of the goal. Okay, it's the daily repetition of the habit. Okay, Bruce Lee, one of my idols, he said it so perfectly. He said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Why did he say that? Because it was the guy that practiced repeatedly that knows the mechanics, that knows the ins and outs of it. Okay, that's the person right there that you need to be aware of, because they are the ones that did it every single day. Every single day. A push up is just a push up, but a push up done consecutively will make a difference in your physique. Yeah. So don't focus on what you're intending to achieve. Focus on what you're intending to become. Okay? Very, very important. Very huge distinction. Your purpose is a measure of your habits, what you've been doing each and every day. Keep that in mind. So how much impact you've had on your audience is going to be a measure of how much you've been living your purpose. So one of the most critical things you can do to sustain your purpose is to develop high impact habits. So these are going to be the behaviors and actions that move you further and faster, like Cameron was just talking about. So build habits that are going to rewire and reshape you on all levels. Start with the first waking hour of your day, okay? We call this getting into alignment. Tony Robbins would call this your hour of power. Someone else might call this whatever, whatever. It doesn't matter. Start with the first hour of your day. What are the habits you're going to need to keep your balance and sustain your purpose? Is it going to be the meditation? Is it going to be gratitude? Intention for the day, mission, training? What is that? What's that first hour that you're going to need to dedicate to yourself, to keeping your balance, to keeping your sustainability? Like we mentioned before, our habit is this, and it worked very well for us. It's working extremely well for us. Wake up before the sun rises. Most yogis, and I think spiritualists do this. The reason why is because your brain is already in a very altered state. Okay, it's still in a theta to alpha state by that time, especially with the darkness. So if you can meditate in that time, you can get really grounded, really clear, really centered, really calm for the day. I've noticed this difference. If I wake up when it's the sunlight and I'm like agitated, I'm in a rush, my whole day feels like that. But if I wake up early, if I take my time, if I'm just relaxed, everything just flows much easier, okay? Then gratitude, high vibrational feeling. What are you grateful for? If you're constantly affirming what you're grateful for, guess what? Whatever you focus on expands, okay? So just think about that. Then intention for the day. What are you intending to do in this day? If you know that, if you can be very clear about that, you can execute on that. That's your habit. And what's your mission? Like we said, mission statement. We say this mission statement every single day. Every single day. There hasn't been a day where we haven't done our mission statement in the last 7, 8 months now? 7, 8 months now, every single day. And then training, okay? So taking care of ourselves on a physical level. So these might be some of the things that you may need to do to get yourself started, okay? And also noting what you need to accomplish. So again, intention for the day. What needs to get done for your purpose? What needs to get done for you? And how can you keep your balance? So I want you to do this. I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes. Answer this. What are the old habits you have right now that aren't serving you in sustaining your purpose? Okay? Is it that you might have, smoking cigarettes and you know that that's not good for you and you know you need to quit? Is that an old habit that you need to let go of? Is it an old habit that you watch, television 3 hours a day and that's not serving you and that's not helping you sustain your purpose? Is it that you have another habit that's not in your best and highest interest? What is that habit? Procrastination, doubt, fear, whatever. Okay? Think about those habits. What are those habits that are not serving you right now? Write that out. Set a timer for 5 minutes, pause the module. Then, what are the new habits you're going to develop right now to help you sustain your life purpose? Okay? What are those new habits? Is it going to be your hour of power? Is it going to be getting into alignment? Is it going to be working on your purpose 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day? What is that? What are the new habits? Okay, so set a timer for 5 minutes. Answer that question. Pause the module. Continue on. Then think about to yourself: do you need to set up time blocks within your schedule where you know you are most in your zone to do the work necessary for your purpose? For Hema and I, we know that the morning time is the time to get our stuff done because we don't want to be thinking about this at 8 o'clock at night. I don't want to be doing this at 8 o'clock at night. I want to be doing this in the morning, get it out the way, have my fun, enjoy my day, live, connect with people, etc., etc. So again, yeah, know the time blocks, know what works for you, and if so, what are the time blocks you're going to need to commit yourself to for your purpose, okay? So again, set that timer, 5 minutes, pause the module, continue on. Next, we have sustaining action, okay? So these are your actions, okay? So taking action on your visions is a byproduct of your habits, okay? So again, you have the habit, then you take the action, okay? And it's just flowing, okay? The right action is going to give you the right results. This is aligned action, okay? I have tried to follow other people's advice outside of me. And when they say work hard, well, what does that mean? Work 70 hours a week at McDonald's? Is that working hard? And then is that going to help you for your purpose? No, no, it's not. Is is walking every day 10 hours a day, is that going to be the right thing to do? Is that aligned, or is that just hard work for no reason? Okay. And the same thing for your purpose is is doing something that's totally unrelated to your purpose and working hard at that, going to be aligned action. You see what I'm saying? So that's the action that we're talking about. The right action has to give you the right results. It has to be aligned action. Has to be aligned action. So if, let's say, you're in psychic healing, let's say if you're in finance and you want to create conscious finance practices, conscious money practices, you know, think about what you're going to need to do to have the aligned action, the aligned habit and action for that, okay? Remember that wrong action gives you wrong results, okay? Results that you weren't intending, and that's misaligned action, okay? So if you're doing something that's incongruent to your purpose, if you're doing something that's totally unrelated and that's not helping you, then what's the point of that? I do understand though that people get their own contrast, meaning things that they don't want, so they experience the opposite first. I get that, but ultimately, if you know, hey, I'm here to live my purpose, then why would you be doing something that's totally unrelated? Okay, so start thinking about the aligned action that you need to take. So the aligned action you take every day should reflect your purpose and help you get closer to your vision, not take you further away from it, okay? And that's why most people quit and get burnt out. They're not seeing the results, or they're just quote unquote working too hard. This happened to me. This totally happened to me. I wasn't happy. I was doing things that I totally wasn't aligned to. I was forcing myself to do it for the money because that's what I was conditioned to believe in. And that was the ultimate lie. I quit. I couldn't do it anymore. I hated it after a while. Didn't make me happy. It felt burnt out, felt dead. The shine in my eyes was gone. And it wasn't until this experience and starting Vibration Life where the shine really came back, where the spark of entrepreneurship really came back into my heart and into my soul to help people on a deep soul level. So I want you to do this. I want you to set aside a timer for 5 minutes and answer this question, all right? What is the aligned action you need to take to sustain your life purpose, okay? Do you need to learn a new skill? Do you need to do that thing you've been fearing, but you know is going to help you sustain your purpose? What is it that you need to do in order for you to get from where you are now to sustaining your purpose, okay? So set that timer. Ask yourself. If you need to meditate, go within, go for it. But answer this question as honestly and as authentically as you can. Pause the module, continue when you're done. Next, we have sustaining our resources, okay? So, as I mentioned before, this is your resourcefulness for resources, okay? So, Michael Beckwith, I heard these terms before from him, the Kensho and Satori learning, okay? So, one thing that he said is that Kensho is basically learning the hard way, right? Satori is learning the easy way, okay? We still learn, we still grow, but it's probably much easier to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's why I'm telling you about this, okay? Through my own Kensho moments, through my own hard learning, okay? I wish I could just have been smart to have learned it from someone else's mistakes, but through my own Kensho moments, I've learned that resources are not the problem. Okay? There's tons of resources. We have access to lots of resources. That's not the problem. The real problem, though, is our resourcefulness to access the resources to sustain our purpose. Is there a shortage of money? No, absolutely not. That is a lie. That is such a lie. The only problem is our resourcefulness to access, to acquire the money. For example, is there a lack of food? From what I've seen, from what we've experienced, there's endless food. There's endless food. So what's the problem? It is maybe the distribution of that food. It is maybe the controllers of the food that don't give it to other people in the world. That's the problem, and that's what needs to change. So I realized that the resources, they're not the issue at all. Okay? It is the resourcefulness to either distribute or access the resources. Okay? So if you're at a stage of your journey where there's still concern for resources, whether it be financial or otherwise, look first at your resourcefulness to either acquire or distribute the resources, okay? Are you using your gifts and talents in a resourceful way? I'm going to go again back to me to share this with you because I made this mistake and learn from me, okay? I learned it the hard way. When I was, again, running my own coaching business in New York City, in Manhattan, okay? Manhattan, considered New York City considered the financial capital of the entire world, of the entire world. Okay, how was it that I was struggling? There are other coaching businesses where they're making 6, 7, 8 figures a year. Why wasn't I? It was me. It was that I wasn't using my real gifts and talents in a resourceful way. It was that I wasn't taking aligned action. It was that I couldn't see that there was infinite resources because of my own conditioning, because of my own scarcity mindset beliefs. Okay? At the time. And I had to learn that. So for you, when it comes to sustaining your resources, when it comes to whatever you need to do, okay, are you in a place where you're concerned about resources? Any resources? Are you concerned about leaving a job or a business? Are you concerned about doing what is unnatural to you? Okay? There's people that work government jobs that don't want to work those jobs. But why do they do it? The security, the resources that it gives them. Why do some people work businesses starting up, even at this current day, social media marketing agencies, Facebook agencies? Why do they do that? Oh, because they believe that there's money there. Hmm. Why is that? Is that really their purpose? So here's what I'm saying. Most people don't believe in themselves enough. They don't believe in their resourcefulness to access the resources, okay? I even remember Tony Robbins talking about this, one of my favorite stories from Tony Robbins. He was saying himself at one time, when he was, before he became the Tony Robbins that we know today, he only had about 20 bucks in his pocket. And there was a boy with his mom, and they were going out for dinner. And I don't know what the situation was, but I think they were hungry or whatever, and then the boy was being like very very gentlemanly like with his mom. So Tony saw this, he was like, wow, this kid just inspired me. So he gave the kid the last 20 bucks in his pocket, from his pocket, said, hey kid, here, do something nice for your mom, and he went to bed without eating that night or whatever. The very next day, the very next day, he had lent money to a friend of his a couple months ago, hadn't heard from him. The very next day, that same person showed up, gave him his money back and extra. And he said, I'm sorry I was so late with this. Thank you so much. Here you go. So Tony learned that day, it's not about the resources. It's about the resourcefulness for those things. Okay. It's about the mindset behind it. Okay. So when I say, are you using your gifts and talents in a resourceful way? What that means is, are you leveraging your purpose to help you sustain your way of life? Are you using your purpose to create a sustainable source of income to take care of yourself? So I want you to do this. I want you to think about what resources you're going to need to devote the energy necessary to sustain your life purpose. What financial resources are you going to need day by day, week by week, month by month, um, to sustain your life purpose? Okay? How much time are you going to need to sustain your life purpose on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis? Is there a number amount? Is there a certain desire or thing that you need? What is that? So think about those things. Okay? Answer those questions. Pause the module.